Hello, fourth graders. So today we are going to be working on a brand new unit on measurement. And can be a very tricky thing for fourth graders. So really give it your best and got to remember certain measurements. And what we're going to focus on is, in this lesson, really three. We're going to be looking at centimeters, meters, and kilometers. And what we really have to remember is that there is 100 centimeters in 1 meter, and there is 1,000 in 1 kilometer. So we really want to make sure that we are understanding centimeters, meters, and kilometers. All right, well, let's get started. How I like to remember the measurements and how and what direction they go and how many are in each one, I kind of like to remember this as a saying: King Henry died unexpectedly drinking chocolate milk. So the K for king stands for kilo. The H stands for hecto. The D stands for deca. And the U is what we have considered that base unit, like grams, meters, and liters. The drinking, the D, this one stands for deci. Centi stands for centimeter or centigram and then we have milli. So once we get to this section right here, we're dealing with something very small. Whereas compared to the other side, we're dealing with something pretty big. Again, here's another chart. King Henry died unusually drinking chocolate milk. And again, we just want to focus on this middle part right here. And this is that base unit that we're going to be looking at, meters. Especially today, we're just going to focus on meters. But we can also have other base units like liters and grams. And when we're looking at meters, we're really focusing on the length. And liter is really looking at the liquid, how much volume it has. And in grams, we're measuring something in the mass, its weight. So we could use any one of these base units in kilograms, kiloliters, kilometer, way down to millimeter, milliliter, and milligram. So again, once you get going down to the right, you're getting much smaller, whereas compared to the left, you're getting much bigger. All right, so we're going to find the equivalent measures. So right here, we're figuring out that we have 5 kilometers. Now remember, we said that there is 1,000 in 1 kilometer. So how many meters does that equal? So what we're going to do, we're going to take that 1,000 and we multiply that by the 5, which would give us 5,000. So 5 kilometers is equal to 5,000 meters, because there is 1,000 kilometers in 1 meter. Okay, so what about the next one? We have 13 kilometers is equal to how many meters? Again, we want to really remember how much things are equal to, right? So we've got 1,000 kilometers is equal to 1 meter. So what we're going to do is we are going to multiply. So 1,000 times 13 is going to give us 13,000 meters. All right, now we're kind of working backwards. So now what they have is 17,000 meters, and now we want to work the other direction. We want to bring it back to kilometers. So because this is our base unit, remember where I showed you that chart, and we want to go back to the left. So if we're going to go back to the left, our number is not going to be as big, right? So we're going to have to divide 17,000 by 1,000. So we have 17,000 divided by the 1,000 is really just going to give us 17. So how many kilometers is this equal to? 17 kilometers is equal to 17,000 meters. Now, if we wanted to like check that, right, we would say 17 times 1,000, right, because there is 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. It would be 17,000 meters, just like it says here. So when we want to go back to the large amount number, we're going to be dividing. When we want to go to the smaller amount, we would be multiplying. Because usually if we're starting out with a large amount, we're going to have a bigger number attached to it. Like a kilometer, that's a big amount, whereas a millimeter or a centimeter, they're going to be much smaller. But our number is going to be bigger. It's very confusing, but you'll understand once we play with this a little bit longer. So we have 60 kilometers is equal to how many meters? Okay, so we're going to start again. Again, practice makes perfect. I'm going to keep saying these things over and over again. That's how we make it stick. So there is 1,000 kilometers that's equal to 1 meter. So we're going to take 60. We're going to multiply that by 1,000 to get 60,000. And that's how much we would have, 60,000 meters. All right, I'm going to continue on, and we're going to be looking for those equivalent measures. The first one, 2a, is 7 kilometers, and 123 meters is equal to how many meters altogether? So we kind of have to break this down and take 7 kilometers, okay, and then 123 meters. And once we break this down, we can get our answer pretty quickly. So there is 1,000 meters is equal to 1 kilometer. So we're going to take that 7 and we're going to multiply it by 1,000 to get 7,000. And then all we have to do on this side is we're left with 123 meters. So if we put those two together, we're going to get 7,123 meters. All right, let's check out 2b now. So we've got 22 kilometers and 22 meters. All right, so let's break that down. So we have 1,000 in 1 kilometer. There's 1,000 meters. So we're going to take 1,000 and we're going to multiply it with 22 to get 22,000. And then we cannot forget our 22 meters. When we join these two together, we're going to get 22,022 meters. And if we continue on to letter C, we're going to get 875 kilometers. All right, and then on the other side, we have 4 meters. And how many meters is that all equal to? Well, we're going to multiply it by 1,000. Right? We get 875,000. But on this side, we have left over 4 meters, so we need to add that to get 875,000 plus the extra 4. And we're going to get 875,004. All right. Okay, 2D now. 2D has 7 meters and 45 centimeters. Okay, so now we're getting away from the kilometers or kilometers, and we're going to focus on the centimeters now. So remember what we said is that there are, in 1 meter, there's 100 centimeters, right? So, excuse me, there is 100 with centimeters. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this, we're going to take this 7 meters and we are going to multiply it by 100, okay? Which is equal to 700. But then we cannot forget this part, and we need to add it on to get 745. When you want to think of centimeters, think of centi, like century. There's 100 years in a century, centi. Okay, that's one way of remembering it. Let's try E. So we have 67 meters, 7 centimeters is equal to how many centimeters? So we're going to take 67 and we're going to multiply it by 100 to get 670. I'm sorry. Oops. So we have 6,700 centimeters, but we cannot forget this part and add on the extra 7 centimeters to get 6,707 centimeters. Okay, now let's focus on 2F. 2F has 204 meters, and then we're separating with the 89 centimeters, and they want us to find the equivalent measurement of just a total of centimeters. So we need to take this one, and we are going to multiply that by 100, and we get 20,400. But we need to add on the 89 to get 20,489 centimeters. All right, our next problem. 2 kilometers, 303 meters. Take away 556 meters. So guys, what we need to do is we need to convert this one right here. And remember, when we're talking about kilometers, we're talking about 1,000. So if we take 2 and we multiply it by 1,000, we're going to get 2,000. But then we need to add on our extra part of our meters. So we're going to get 2,303 meters. Okay, so now we were able to convert this all into meters, then add on our extra amount right here to here to get a total of 2,303 meters. Now we're able to subtract the 556 meters. So we need to borrow. This becomes a 12. This one becomes a 10, but we need to borrow again, so it becomes a 9. Now a 13. So 13 minus 6 is 7. 9 minus 5 is 4. 12 minus 5 is 7. So we get 1,747 meters. Okay, so here's a word problem. And we're going to be using a tape diagram to help model this problem. So the length of Cecilia's garden is 15 meters and 24 centimeters. That's Cecilia. The length of her friend's garden is 2 meters and 98 centimeters more than Cecilia's. What is the length of her friend's garden? All right, so let's break this up. I'm going to put a C for Cecilia. And let's make our tape. All right, a little extra over here. Sorry about that. All right, and this whole part of Cecilia is going to be 15 meters and 24 centimeters. Then we'll do F for friend. And the friend has exactly the same as Cecilia's, which is 15 meters, 24 centimeters. But then she's got more to it. So let's add on another section to this. And this part of her friend is 2 meters and 98 centimeters more than what Cecilia had. So what we need to do is we need to add all of this together to get what the total amount the friend had. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do 15 meters and 24 centimeters. Kind of keep them separate. 2 meters on this side and then 98 centimeters on this side. And we're going to add them up. So how many centimeters do we have? Well, we've got 4 plus 8, which is 12, carry over. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus the 9 is 12. So we have 122 centimeters. And then 15 meters plus 2 meters is going to give us 17 meters. So now what we have to do is we have way too much over here of 122 centimeters because we can actually take 100 of that away and give it to the meters because there's 100 meters in centimeters. So we can take away that 100 and we can give it over to the meters. Okay? And we're going to get 22 centimeters. And if 100 centimeters equals to 1 meter, so we're going to add that over and bring that 1 over to a meter. So we're going to get 18 meters. So that is exactly how much her friend has. Her friend has 18 meters and 22 centimeters. So that's the answer to this problem. What was the length of her friend's garden? Today's math star is you. All of you. Good job, guys. All right, let's try to practice on these next sets to see how well we do today. Okay, first problem tonight. 7 centimeters, 45 centimeters is equal to how many centimeters? 67 meters, 7 centimeters is equal to how many centimeters? 82 kilometers and 8 meters is equal to how many meters altogether? 2 kilometers and 303 meters take away 556 meters. And what do you get? You're a math rock star. Woohoo! Good job today, guys. Excellent work. We'll practice more in school. Have a wonderful night.